Welcome to the second video in our video series about how to use Settree Unleashed. In this video, I want to show you how you can start your session, start your experiment. So after initializing Settree Unleashed, which by the way only has to be done once, you never have to do it again, you are basically all set. However, recall that Settree is a proprietary program which cannot be freely distributed, and therefore it is not contained in the virtual machine image. So it's quite important that you upload Settree and setleaf to the virtual machine. How to do that? Well, first of all, let's quickly talk about the /share folder. So the /share folder is a special directory which was created by the initialization, which contains two subfolders and some internal files. Please don't touch them. And you are invited to put the Settree binaries into the /share/Settree folder. And I recommend that you put your experiment files, such as the ZTT file, into the share scratch folder. So the share scratch folder will become quite important at a later point in this video. But for now, the question arises, how do I actually put the binaries into this folder? Because after all, this folder is not on your host system. It's in the virtual machine, right? So how can you do that? Well, fortunately, there is a simple solution using FileZilla. So FileZilla is a program that runs on your host computer, so on your normal system. And you can easily connect to the virtual machine and put files. And you can also receive files and you can download and upload files, right? So how do you connect to the virtual machine? Well, we have made it as simple as possible. You just have to enter sftp://127.0.0.1. As a username, you put lab and then the password, which is probably also lab. So lab, and the port number is 60,022. Okay? Now, we can connect directly and we trust this host and we are thrown into the home lab directory, which by the way is the directory where all the Settree Unleashed scripts live. But we want to go to /share, so we can click on the slash and we can look for share, there it is. And then we can go to Settree and then we are in /Settree. And recall, that's exactly where we want to put the binaries. And then you can navigate on your own system to the folder where you have the files that you want to upload to the virtual machine. And in our case, these are just the three files here, right here, right? So you definitely always need the setleaf executable. You need the Settree executable. And recall that I recommended that you put the ZTT file into the scratch folder. So into share scratch. Okay. So let's take a look at whether this worked. Let's close FileZilla and go back into the virtual machine, and you can see the files were successfully received. So we are all set. And now you are truly all set, right? Because you can immediately start a session. You can close this. And to start a session, just double click on Start Session. This script also automatically looks for files that look like they could be Settree or setleaf files. So first of all, you have to select the setleaf executable, which in our case is the second file in the listing. So you have to enter 2. And then we have to select the Settree executable, which is number 1. Then we have to specify how many clients we want to start for this session. So in this session, I want to start all 32 clients. Note that you can always start fewer than 32 clients. but you cannot start more without creating new users, and creating new users can only be done through the initialization. So I suggest that you put in a high enough number, such as, 120 or so, right? Okay, so 32 clients, and then there is this countdown, and in a few seconds it will start. Okay, so the script will now initialize all the clients, and we call client 0 is the experimenter. So for that client, set3 is started. And now we start the other clients, which of course connect to set3 over setleaf. Okay, we're all done. And now set3 Unleashed automatically opens this window, this editor, with the links, right? So the first link is for the experimenter. Do not give this link to subjects, right? But the other 32 links in our case, they can be freely distributed to subjects, right? So just give these URLs to the subjects. You can send them through email, for example. You could use a plugin like Mail Merge, which is a very useful Thunderbird plugin. So just send out these links, and that's all subjects need to connect. And now I want to prove that to you, because let's start Firefox. And then let's start the experimenter screen first. So you can just copy and paste. Now this is normal, because recall that we just used the self-signed certificate. It's not really a risk, that's false, but you shouldn't use a self-signed certificate on the internet, because browsers do not recognize it, as you can see here. But it's not a problem at all, actually. So this is a little bit overblown, and this is just a test, as you know. So we can accept the so-called risk, we can connect, and there we have set3. That's quite cool, isn't it? And we can already open the clients table, and we see that we have indeed 32 clients. All 32 clients are online, and there are no connection problems. So we can sort the clients if we want. And let's start, let's open one subject, for example, this one right here. Again, accept the risk, connect. And this is the first subject, and let's also, open the last subject, for example. So as you know, this is all done automatically, right? You don't have to do anything, basically. You only have to send out the links, right? These links you have to send out, but everything else is totally automatic. Yeah, cool. So let's open a simple experiment. We have to go to /share Scratch and then hello world. We can just double click. This opens the experiment in set3. And then we can just press run start treatment. Oh, 1 second. Of course, we have to adjust the background information. So you can do everything you are used to doing in set3. Run start treatment. And then if we take a look at these browser tabs, you can see that is setleaf, right? And these individual setleafs are running your experiment, and you can, I don't know, it works for every link. So you can just click on the link as a subject, click connect, and you are in the experiment. And that's all running on your virtual machine right now, right? So just as expected, it's totally natural. You just send out the links and subjects can connect, right? As long, of course, as your server is globally reachable. If not, you have to use the thin server, but that's a more advanced topic. Yeah, so this worked fine. So we successfully executed our first session. Now the question arises, how do I finish a session? Well, that's also quite simple. You have to quit set3. And then set3 terminates and writes the output of the session into a certain folder. And then you can just double click on terminate session. And that totally clears out all clients. And as you can see, they are now disconnected. And in fact, they cannot even reload because everything is shut down. If you press terminate, everything is totally shut down. Sometimes you may want to reuse these links. And then you can use the session file that was generated, and that ties into another topic, which is the Scratch folder. Every session has its own folder in the Scratch folder, and that's where all the usual set3 output files are sent to, and also this additional session file, which is sort of an internal set3 unleashed representation of the session containing the URLs, for example. And if at any point in time you want to reuse these links, right, and you do not want to regenerate new links, you can use the reuse session file program right here. But that's a topic for another time. But you can see set3 correctly put out all of the required files that we need for your econometric analysis, for example. Okay, and of course you can download this folder and its contents using FileZilla. And you can easily download all the files and take a look at them, right? So that was how to start and terminate a session in set3 Unleashed. I hope you enjoyed this video, and just two minor tips that I have for you. If you accidentally close this window, that's not a problem. You can just click, double click, show URLs, and you will receive the URLs again, right? So that's another tip. And also, as another tip, you can also directly access the clients using show setleaf. This doesn't work right now because we have already finished the session, but you can just enter a client that you want to view, and you get a view-only screen of what the subject sees. Right? You cannot interact with it, but but you can at least see what the subject is doing. Sometimes that might be useful. Okay, that's good. Maybe one last point. If you ever need to restart a set leaf or all set leaves, you can use the restart set leaf program, and you can enter an individual set leaf or all, right? You can also enter all, and in that case, all set leaves are restarted and subjects do not lose the URL. So the URLs also stay the same. And similarly, this also applies to restarting set3. However, this is a little bit more dangerous because, of course, you may lose data, right? So only do that if it is really necessary, or at the beginning of an experiment if set3 didn't start correctly, for example. But you shouldn't use this function lightly. So this was how to start a session in set3 Unleashed. I hope you enjoyed it, and good luck. See you next time. Bye.